Say no to naysayers. Believe in yourself. Write your SOP with some form of excellence. It shouldn't be one of those essays that you write.
As a successful F1 visa applicant, why do you think, in your own view, people get denied at the embassy?
It's a hard question.
To achieve your goal of studying abroad, it is important to listen to people who have been successful through the same process. This is the reason why the Fred Effect team introduced the Experience series. On any of the episodes of the Experience series, we interview an individual who is currently studying abroad to share with us how they succeeded in gaining admission, scholarship, and visa to study abroad, and what tips and advice they can give you who want to do same. You may be interested in the same program they are studying and hence apply to the same university they are studying at. This is a very insightful session. My guest today is a brilliant lady originally from Africa, applied to only one university, gained admission and scholarship to study a master's degree, and now after the master's degree program, she transitioned into another university to pursue a PhD. My name is Fred. Thank you for subscribing. You're welcome to another episode of the Experience series. This is the Fred Effect. Let's get started.
I want to know your name, which school you are at the moment, and what program you're pursuing.
Wonderful. Thanks for having me. My name is Annie. I'm currently in the University of Kentucky, and I'm doing a PhD program in communication, precisely health communication.
Okay, so what was your earlier academic qualification prior to, coming to the US?
Yeah, before I came to the US, I had a bachelor's degree from the University of Cape Coast.
How many universities did you gain admission into?
I just applied to one.
Oh, really?
Yes, I did one.
What did the magic? Because a lot of people are applying to a lot of schools and yet,
Well, probably I had a winning statement of purpose. Yeah, statements of purpose is one thing that will sell you on the table when you are not there to defend yourself. And so I think that did the magic, you'd say.
Okay, so did you sort of get some coaching or help from anyone?
Yes. So at the time, there was a friend, a TA, who TA'd me as I was in level 200. And then I reached out to him. He, in fact, reached out to me. And then we started the whole process. He looked through my SOP. He basically helped at every step in point during the process.
So what type of funding did you have? Did you have like a full scholarship, a partial, or no funding at all?
I had a full assistantship, so I had to be a teaching assistant.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what it means is that you did not come straight to University of Kentucky. You were in a different school.
Yes.
All right. So
yes.
when you went for your visa interview, that was the I-20 you had.
Yes.
Okay. So tell us about that.
Right. And so in February, I gained admission to Illinois State University, and between February and May, I was waiting on assistantship. And so, having had a very long months of wait, I finally got it. But they would have to send me my I-20. They did finally, and that was where preparations for visa application, going to the embassy, all started. And again, in Illinois, what happens is I used that I-20 and the assistantship they gave me to look for my bank statement. Yeah, so basically, that was how it was.
All right, so you mentioned that you had a full assistantship. What was the bank statement for that?
So you realize that when you have full assistantship, you still have to show what the assistantship doesn't cover.
All right.
So that was about $8,000 at the time. I don't know if it's increased.
Okay.
But I had to show about 8,000, and in Ghana cedis now that would be like 50,000. Yeah. And so that would be for accommodation and all the other expenses that the school estimates that I would spend when I'm on campus, apart from the assistantship that the school covers for me.
Awesome. Yeah. So who was the sponsor? Your mom, dad? Who was it?
Interesting. Someone I never knew. I met a person once and we spoke, and then he was like, well, he thinks I'm going to do well, and so if I needed anything, I should let him know. And so when the time came for me to look for assistantship, it just, after searching elsewhere, you know, I didn't get it. But eventually I called him and he gave it to me.
Let's talk about your F1 visa interview. Where did you go for your F1 visa interview?
I did my F1 interview in Accra, the embassy in Accra.
Okay, awesome. And the preparation towards the visa, how was it?
You know, it was a whole lot of things. So preparing for bank statement and prepping some of the questions that I would be asked, watching YouTube videos and every other thing that I needed to know before I came.
Okay. A lot of people have been to the embassy 3 times, 4 times. How many times did you go there to get here?
Once.
Wow. All right. So that it means that you know something we do not know. Tell us, do you remember how many questions you were asked? You know, how did you answer them?
I was asked about 8 questions.
8 questions?
8 and 10 questions.
Wow.
Yes. I think I wrote them down when I returned because the euphoria with which I came home with, I was just pumped up. So I think the first question was what school I was attending and why I was reading communications.
Okay.
And I think I remember answering the fact that I was attending Illinois State University and communication because it's still a growing researching area. And so I look forward to explore all the opportunities that communication gives and then use the knowledge I will gain from Illinois State in my home country.
Okay, nice.
And so, yeah, basically trying to make them understand that there is a gap I want to fill and use that gap to help with my home country. Yeah. And then I remember another question they asked me was who was funding. Again, even though I had scholarship or assistantship, I needed to show an amount of money for my upkeep when I came to the US.
Which you said is like $8,000.
About $8,008. Yeah. And mentioned the person was a family friend who had overseen my education from undergrad and is very, invested in my education and wants to see me succeed. And then and then there were questions about whether I was married, whether I traveled outside of the US before, whether I have any kids, and then so basically these 3 questions came and they were all no, and so I didn't have to probe. I didn't have to answer any more questions.
Awesome. So coming from the undergrad, were you like studying communication back then, and then you came to study masters in communication here?
Yes. So I did a bachelor's in communication, a master's in communication, and I'm currently in a PhD for communication.
Before we continue, remember the Fred Effect team is on a mission to empower millions through education abroad. The team, for close to half a decade, have consistently assisted thousands of international students into their dream universities and programs. And now is your turn. Sign up for the Fred Effect admission, scholarship, and visa application mentorship program and get expert guidance on how to go about the process. Use the link on the screen to sign up today.
What advice would you have for people who probably had a different background and they are going for the interview, yet they are coming to study a different thing over here? So maybe economics, and now they are coming to study masters in IT.
I tell you the truth, there are a lot of people who have read different programs and are in different programs in the US. I know of a friend I helped, coached kinda, who did theater and is reading communication now.
I see.
All you have to do is write a very convincing statement of purpose and relate how your current study or your degree that you have relates to what you want to do. And so it's very visible. You may have had a bachelor's degree in something else, but in the US there are very different courses you want to do. Just relate what you did for your bachelor's into what you currently want to do. It's so defensive.
How would you say they should answer the question over there at the embassy? Why are you switching?
So the switch will come in when you are able to defend the reason why you think probably let's say theater and communication as not so related, but find a ground where these two things relate.
Okay.
Theater is an art, communication is an art, so you are looking at how communication plays a role in the theater industry.
Awesome.
And it's amazing. If it's about economics and you want to switch to communication, there are so many aspects of communication that may look at economy, but economics are not able to explain the findings that they do as much as a communication person would have done. And so you want to see how communication could be used in the economic sector to explain numbers in layman's terms.
Yeah.
So really understand your role and appreciate the new trend you want to go and pick that trajectory and then just push that forward.
I love that.
Yeah.
So as a successful F1 visa applicant, why do you think, in your own view, people get denied at the embassy?
It's a hard question.
Yeah.
I think first of all, they don't appear prepared. Preparation is key. First of all, preparation will come in the way you answer questions.
Okay.
You should go straight to the point. Don't answer questions you are not asked. Just be succinct and precise as possible. Also, be confident. You know, there is nothing that beats the consular or whoever is behind the window as someone who is very confident about how he or she is telling the lie or the truth that you are saying. And so just appear confident. And I think that is the reason why most people are not able to.
Okay, so applying to only one university, gaining admission, full scholarship, F1 visa interview passed at once. What do you think is a trick? What worked for you?
Preparation again. So first of all, I spent a lot of time with my SOP. So beginning from there, that is what will sell you at the table when you are not there to defend your cause. And so let people read through your SOP. Don't think you are enough of yourself. So someone preferred, and also I prayed. If you're a Christian, you want to pray for favor. Beyond that, if you are any believer, you want to make whatever you believe in work for you. And then as I entered the embassy, I was nervous, but I didn't make the apprehension get to me.
Okay.
I may be apprehensive, but I would vocalize. I will be bold. I will tell you as much as I know at the point in time and make it look convincing. And look straight into the person's eye. Let the person know that I know what I'm talking about.
Awesome.
So basically that.
So this might be quite an interesting story. So what are some of the things you heard prior to going for the interview that after the interview you realized, oh, this were not true?
It is a false information if you hear that if you have half funding or no funding, you cannot pass the embassy. You cannot pass the interview. I know of a couple of people who didn't have funding, but they had tuition waiver. And so you may not have funding, but you would have tuition waiver. It all depends on the kind of school. If it's a private school, there is a lot of money you have to show, and sometimes you have to show beyond about twice or triple of the amounts that you have to show. That is one falsifiable information I want to put out there. If it's a public school, when you have tuition waiver, it helps because it's believed the government or the federal government will help cater for the tuition waiver and they'll stand true to their words. And so again, it's false when people say when you have no funding or half funding, you'll not get all the above information I spoke about. Get your SOP, be confident during the interview and all, and you will get through. And make sure your school is a public school. When it is, it's usually easy for you to sail through.
That was what I was going to ask for finally, like what general advice, if somebody is watching us and is preparing for the visa interview, you have been there, what advice are you going to give to them?
First of all, say no to naysayers. Believe in yourself. As a matter of fact, there will be negative things. In fact, let me say this before I forget. The day I went to buy my visa forms from GT Bank, someone in the queue was like, "Hey, F1 visa, this thing, if you buy and they bounce your money, a shit. Then I was like, really? But I didn't let that get to me.
Yeah.
So all from the onset, I possessed a positive mentality. Be empowered. Why do you want to study abroad? Beyond academia, you want to see yourself succeed one day. And so pumped up in this energy, just use the same energy on anything that you touch. Write your SOP with some form of excellence. It shouldn't be one of those essays that you write. And even as you prepare for your interview, make calls, call people that you know that have traveled abroad. Let them guide you. There is no answer that is incorrect so long as you can defend what you are saying. The next thing is that pray if you're a believer. I mean, God works in mysterious ways. Yeah, and then just work on your confidence. Some people are soft-spoken, it's agreeable, but confidence should be seen in soft-spokenness. You just want to articulate what you want to say and say it well.
Yeah, she does PhD in communication, so that's why you have to watch her say everything. Yeah, it's amazing having you here, and I'm sure that somebody watching us will be inspired. And
I'm hoping so. Again, if there are any more questions that you would want me to answer, they can channel it to you, and I can help with
sure.
them.
Awesome. So thank you for making time to join us, and it was a pleasure having you.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
In the comment section, let me know if you have any questions for Annie and what program you are interested in studying. And I'll make sure to bring someone in that field on the next episode of the Experience series. My name is Fred. Thank you for subscribing. This is the Fred Effect, and this has been another episode of the Experience series. I'll see you in another video. Be positive. Everything will be fine.